Well, hi there. My name is Perry, and welcome to the Literary Nitterary. So I'm here today with a little bit of a library haul for you. This was actually filmed last week. I was in a good mood. I wanted to chat, I wanted to film, and so I started working on a reading vlog, but unfortunately I didn't have really a plan for a theme or a duration for this reading vlog, so it sort of petered out into nothingness. But looking back through that footage, most of it is just me talking about the books that I had just gotten out from the library, and I was like, well, that is a thing, a library haul is a thing, so why not just make that into its own video? So without any further ado, here is me from the past telling you about what I got out from the library and why. So it is the morning of Friday, January 15th. I just got back from doing a sidewalk service curbside pickup at my local library. My 2021 goals video is in development, but one of my goals for 2021 is to read more physical books. When I put my statistics together, yes, my 2020 statistics video is also in development. I realized what a huge proportion of my reading is ebooks and what a small proportion is physical books or audiobooks. And as I think I've discussed on my channel before, that does impact the types of books that I choose to pick up. I just find it easier to focus on slightly lighter, slightly more commercial reads when reading on my phone, whereas something like a classic, a big chunky fantasy novel, a historical fiction novel, or anything that's more like literary or upmarket, I find much easier to focus on when I'm reading from an actual paper page. And so in 2020, I think the fact that I was reading such an overwhelming proportion of ebooks led to a sort of shift in the genre breakdown of my reading, or contributed to a shift in the genre breakdown of my reading. I'm going to talk more about this in my sort of 2020 statistics reading year in review video, should it ever come out. So one of the ways that I'm trying to achieve this goal is by placing more holds for physical books at my library. I think this is also going to help me with other goals because it's going to require me to consider what it is that I'm wanting to read before the moment where I'm actually choosing which book to pick up that day. So sort of like making a TBR, there's some moments of foresight or forethought where you're thinking about what kinds of books you want to be reading, what kinds of voices you want to be hearing from. Sorry, my cat is attacking our rug for no discernible reason. So I placed a whole bunch of library holds in service of this goal, and I was expecting to sort of suspend them as necessary, which lets you like keep your place in line but not have to take home all of the books right away. But I guess a whole bunch of the books were just in the library where I pick up my books already, so within like one day, 7 of the holds came in. I think it's 7 books that I just picked up, so I'm not even entirely sure which books were ready because there's so many of them. So this will be a fun little surprising journey for the both of us. So first, on top of the bag, we have Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. This is a young adult fantasy novel about a girl who works in a magical library, which is full of enchanted books, grimoires that are very dangerous if the sorcerers get their hands on them. And so I really like that premise. Obviously I love books, and I love libraries. So books that are set in bookstores or libraries or that take a magical twist on either of those things are just things I get really excited about. And also I think this might have a bisexual love interest, although I might have also made that up. Next up, we have the Penelopiad by Margaret Atwood, which is a lot smaller than I expected it to be. If you follow this channel, you might know that I am currently in the middle of reading the Odyssey and doing a series of videos about it. I'm really enjoying that, and it reminded me that this book has been high on my TBR for a long time. I don't know if I've talked about this on this channel before, but I used to be a huge Margaret Atwood fangirl. Around like my senior year of high school, freshman year of college, I was trying to read as many of her books as I could get my hands on, and a lot of them are favorites of mine. So this is obviously right up my alley. It is a myth retelling that centers the female voice and the female perspective, which is often obscured or silenced in the original myths. So as I said, this has been really high up on my TBR for a long time, and I think now is a great time to read it, especially basically following right after a rereading of the Odyssey itself. Next up, we have The Ensemble by Aja Gabel. So this is a novel about the 4 members of a string quartet. I believe it starts their final year of college or conservatory and continues on in their lives from there, and I think just sort of examines the dynamics of this group and where they all go in trying to have music careers. As you know, I really like books that are centered on like performers and performance, so I think that is what initially drew me to this one. Up next, we have Swing Time by Zadie Smith. Zadie Smith is another sort of old favorite author that I haven't revisited in a long time. I first read White Teeth in class my freshman year of college, and then I read also On Beauty and Changing My Mind, which is an essay collection. And then I haven't read anything by her for years, even though I absolutely love her work and I love what she does. And this novel specifically is about dancers. As we just discussed, I love novels about performers and performance, and they also tend to explore ambition, which is something else that I'm really interested in books. So knowing that I already love her writing, I'm really excited about this one. Okay, so there's definitely a little bit of a theme going on here. This is Dark and Deepest Red by Anna Marie McLemore, and I know this is sort of a YA magical take on the story of the Red Shoes, so also kind of about dancing. I know this is a dual timeline book, which often really works for me. The earlier timeline is set in the 1500s, which I feel like is a time period we don't see a lot of in historical fiction books. And of course, I'm expecting this to be queer as all get out, and I have loved this author's writing before. I've really enjoyed their books before, so I'm anticipating this one pretty highly. Up next, we have The Mothers by Brit Bennett. The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett has been getting a lot of buzz and hype this year, but this one is, I believe, her first novel, and it's been on my radar for a long time. I've been interested in this one for a good while. I think I first heard about it on the Get Booked podcast that Book Riot does, which I listened to a fair bit while I was hiking the Appalachian Trail. This, I believe, is about a youthful relationship and the decisions that are made within it and how those decisions and the secrets that they create shape the lives of the participants down the road years later. But I believe that it is also told in sort of the collective first-person voice of the women of this community, so it's all like we. Hence, I think why it is called The Mothers. I've been really interested in this one for a long time, as I said, so I'm excited to finally check it out, both, you know, figuratively and literally. And finally, we have Hild by Nicola Griffith. This is another sort of medieval fantasy novel. I think it's fantasy. I'm not sure if it's fantasy because it's like alternate history or because it is actually magical. I guess we will find out. I believe I first heard about this when I was doing research on queerness in SFF for my science fiction class in college, and I came across this author and her wife, and I put books from both of them on my TBR. This, I believe, is queer and has a very detailed medieval historical setting, which are both things that I like, so I am excited to check this one out. So yeah, that was my library haul. You can also consider this sort of a partial January or February TBR, because obviously I do want to get to these books before they are due back. I haven't had a chance to get started on any of them because right as I was taking them home, I had just started The Shadow of the Wind, which is kind of chunky. It is excellent. I have since finished it, but it is a bit chunky, so this took me a minute. But now I am super excited to get into these books. Please let me know if you like this kind of video and if you would want to see more of them, like if instead of doing regular TBRs or regular hauls about books that I buy, because I don't buy that many books, I talked more about my library holds and the books that I am getting out from the library. Let me know if that would be interesting to you. Also, I guess let me know if you hate that and don't want to see a video like this ever again. Also, let me know if you have read any of the books that I talked about, and if so, what you thought about them, or if that seems too complicated right now, but you still want to let me know that you are here, you can leave me an emoji in the comments down below. If you like this video, I do hope you'll consider subscribing, and I will see you again soon. But in the meantime, I hope that everyone is staying happy, healthy, and safe, and I hope that somewhere out there is a great book waiting just for you. Bye!